with its swift and ponderous blows, crushes all the machinery to atoms, and at last, wrenching itself away, lies inert and dead amid the ruin it has wrought. The force of the people, or the popular will in action and exerted, symbolized by the gavel, regulated and guided by and acting within the limits of law and order, symbolized by the 24-inch rule, has for its fruit liberty, equality, and fraternity. Liberty regulated by law, equality of rights in the eye of the law, brotherhood with its duties and obligations as well as its benefits. You will hear shortly of the rough ashlar and the perfect ashlar as part of the jewels of the lodge. The rough ashlar is said to be a stone as taken from the quarry in its rude and natural state. The perfect ashlar is said to be a stone made ready by the hands of the workman, to be adjusted by the working tools of the fellowcraft. We shall not repeat the explanations of these symbols given by the York Rite. You may read them in its printed monitors. They are declared to allude to the self-improvement of the individual craftsman, a continuation of the same superficial interpretation. The rough ashlar is the people as a mass, rude and unorganized. The perfect ashlar, or cubical stone, symbol of perfection, is the state, the rulers deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, the constitution and laws speaking the will of the people, the government harmonious, symmetrical, efficient, its powers properly distributed and duly adjusted in equilibrium. If we delineate a cube on a plane surface thus, we have visible 3 faces and 9 external lines, drawn between 7 points. The complete cube has 3 more faces, making 6, 3 more lines, making 12, and 1 more point, making 8. As the number 12 includes the sacred numbers 3, 5, 7, and 3 times 3, or 9, and is produced by adding the sacred number 3 to 9, while its own 2 figures, 1, 2, the unit or monad, and duad, added together, make the same sacred number 3. It was called the perfect number, and the cube became the symbol of perfection. Produced by force, acting by rule, hammered in accordance with lines measured by the gauge out of the rough ashlar, it is an appropriate symbol of the force of the people, expressed as the constitution and law of the state, and of the state itself. The 3 visible faces represent the 3 departments: the executive, which executes the laws; the legislative, which makes the laws; the judiciary, which interprets the laws, applies and enforces them between man and man, between the state and the citizens. The 3 invisible faces are liberty, equality, and fraternity, the threefold soul of the state, its vitality, spirit, and intellect. Though Masonry neither usurps the place of nor apes religion, prayer is an essential part of our ceremonies. It is the aspiration of the soul toward the absolute and infinite intelligence, which is the one supreme deity, most feebly and misunderstandingly characterized as an architect. Certain faculties of man are directed toward the unknown: thought, meditation, prayer. The unknown is an ocean of which conscience is the compass. Thought, meditation, prayer are the great mysterious pointings of the needle. It is a spiritual magnetism that thus connects the human soul with the deity. These majestic irradiations of the soul pierce through the shadow toward the light. It is but a shallow scoff to say that prayer is absurd, because it is not possible for us, by means of it, to persuade God to change his plans. He produces foreknown and foreintended effects by the instrumentality of the forces of nature, all of which are his forces. Our own are part of these. Our free agency and our will are forces. We do not absurdly cease to make efforts to attain wealth or happiness, prolong life, and continue health, because we cannot, by any effort, change what is predestined. If the effort also is predestined, it is not the less our effort made of our free will. So likewise we pray. Will is a force, thought is a force, prayer is a force. Why should it not be of the law of God that prayer, like faith and love, should have its effects? Man is not to be comprehended as a starting point or progress as a goal. Without those two great forces, faith and love, prayer is sublime. Orist clamor are pitiful. To deny the efficacy of prayer is to deny that of faith, love, and effort. Yet the effects produced when our hand, moved by our will, launches a pebble into the ocean, never cease, and every uttered word is registered for eternity upon the invisible air. Every lodge is a temple, and as a whole and in its details symbolic. The universe itself supplied man with a model for the first temples reared to the divinity. The arrangement of the Temple of Solomon, the symbolic ornaments which formed its chief decorations, and the dress of the high priest all had reference to the order of the universe, as then understood. The temple contained many emblems of the seasons: the sun, the moon, the planets, the constellations Ursa Major and Minor, the zodiac, the elements, and the other parts of the world. It is the master of this lodge, of the universe, Hermes, of whom Huram is the representative, that is one of the lights of the lodge. For further instruction as to the symbolism of the heavenly bodies and of the sacred numbers and of the temple and its details, you must wait patiently until you advance in Masonry, in the meantime exercising your intellect in studying them for yourself. To study and seek to interpret correctly the symbols of the universe is the work of the sage and philosopher. It is to decipher the writing of God and penetrate into his thoughts. This is what is asked and answered in our catechism in regard to the lodge. A lodge is defined to be an assemblage of Freemasons, duly congregated, having the sacred writings, square and compass, and a charter or warrant of constitution authorizing them to work. The room or place in which they meet, representing some part of King Solomon's temple, is also called the lodge, and it is that we are now considering. It is said to be supported by three great columns: wisdom, force or strength, and beauty, represented by the master, the senior warden, and the junior warden. And these are said to be the columns that support the lodge, because wisdom, strength, and beauty are the perfections of everything, and nothing can endure without them. Because, the York Rite says, it is necessary that there should be wisdom to conceive, strength to support, and beauty to adorn all great and important undertakings. Know ye not, says the Apostle Paul, that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man desecrate the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. The wisdom and power of the deity are in equilibrium. The laws of nature and the moral laws are not the mere despotic mandates of his omnipotent will, for then they might be changed by him, and order become disorder, and good and right become evil and wrong, honesty and loyalty, vices, and fraud, ingratitude, and vice, virtues. Omnipotent power, infinite, and existing alone, would necessarily not be constrained to consistency. Its decrees and laws could not be immutable. The laws of God are not obligatory on us because they are the enactments of his power or the expression of his will, but because they express his infinite wisdom. They are not right because they are his laws, but his laws because they are right. From the equilibrium of infinite wisdom and infinite force results perfect harmony in physics and in the moral universe. Wisdom, power, and harmony constitute one Masonic triad. They have other and profounder meanings that may at some time be unveiled to you. As to the ordinary and commonplace explanation, It may be added that the wisdom of the architect is displayed in combining, as only a skillful architect can do, and as God has done everywhere. For example, in the tree, the human frame, the egg, the cells of the honeycomb, strength, with grace, beauty, symmetry, proportion, lightness, ornamentation. That, too, is the perfection of the orator and poet, to combine force, strength, energy, with grace of style, musical cadences, the beauty of figures, the play and irradiation of imagination and fancy. And so, in a state, the warlike and industrial force of the people and their titanic strength must be combined with the beauty of the arts, the sciences, and the intellect, if the state would scale the heights of excellence and the people be really free. Harmony in this, as in all the divine, the material and the human, is the result of equilibrium, of the sympathy and opposite action of contraries, a single wisdom above them holding the beam of the scales. To reconcile the moral law, human responsibility, free will with the absolute power of God, and the existence of evil with his absolute wisdom and goodness and mercy, these are the great enigmas of the Sphinx.